Video 4 we will continue. We will start off with the renal disorder, probably one or two conditions we will see today, and then we will carry on. I will be taking on alternative classes I will send, so make sure you go through your videos with the notes that is there. Okay, so urinary retention, we will see the first condition. So you should have studied this already in your foundations, urinary retention, urinary incontinence. Anyways, I will be taking. Okay. So urinary retention, so what is the definition? It is an inability to empty the bladder. Urinary retention can be acute or chronic. Acute urinary retention is a medical emergency. So we know that when the urine is not passed automatically, or when the urine is retained in the urinary bladder itself, okay, that condition is called as urinary retention. It can be either acute or chronic, and then it is a medical emergency. Okay, so urinary retention is most common in men in their 50s and 60s because of prostate enlargement. Already we have seen that if there is a prostate enlargement, automatically it affects or it disturbs the urine flow, okay, or passing of the urine. So in men it is mainly because of the prostate enlargement. A woman may experience urinary retention if a bladder sags or moves out of the normal position, cystocele. Okay, so in female bladder will come down. Okay, so it is called as bladder sag, or it can move out of the normal position, okay, which is called as cystocele, or pulled out of position by a sagging of the upper lower part of the colon, rectocele. So because of the colon which is out of place, it also pulls down the bladder out of place. So when the colon is out of the place, then we call that condition to be rectocele. So in men mainly it can be because of prostate enlargement, in female it can be because of cystocele, bladder sagging, or rectocele. Okay, next we will go into causes. What are the various causes? So urinary retention, it includes obstruction in the urinary tract such as an enlarged prostate or bladder stones. So it can happen because if there is an obstruction in the urinary tract or in the urethra itself, if there is an enlarged prostate or a bladder stone, if it is there, then automatically the urine will not flow outside. Okay, so that is one of the cause, or infection that cause swelling or irritation. So when there is an infection or swelling, automatically the urine flow also is disturbed. So nerve problems that interfere with signals between the brain and the bladder, it can be because of the nerve problems which is which can interfere with the signal between the brain and the bladder. Then medications, constipations, urethral stricture, or a weak bladder muscle. Okay, so these are all the various causes which can lead to urinary retention. So talking about the clinical manifestation, so symptoms of acute urinary retention are severe discomfort and pain. So it can actually lead to severe discomfort as well as pain. Then an urgent need to urinate, but you simply can't, and bloated lower belly. So an urgent, the patient wants to urinate but the patient is not able to. Okay, the patient is not able to do because of the bloated lower belly. Okay, so these are all the symptoms that we are seeing. It causes discomfort, pain, distended bladder where the patient is not able to urinate. Then chronic urinary retention symptoms are mild but constant discomfort. It leads to constant discomfort in the patient, difficulty to start streaming of urine. They will not be able to void at all. Weak flow, even if they try to void, very little amount of urine will be coming. Weak flow of the urine, needing to go frequently, or feeling you still need to go after you have finished. So even after urinating, you will still have the feeling of passing the urine. Okay, so that is called as, so that is the difficulty that they will have. Okay, need to go frequently, or they will feel as if they have not voided at all. Okay, so these are all the clinical manifestation that is found in urinary retention. Next, coming on to complication. So complications include urinary tract infection, bladder damage, and chronic kidney disease. So these are all the various complications that the patient can end up having. Then what are the various diagnostic tests? So tests to diagnose urinary retention including taking a urine sample. They have to take a urine sample, history collection, physical exam, all what we have studied, history collection, physical examination, and then urine sample. We can take a bladder scan, cystoscopy, that is the visualization of the rectum. Okay, then X-ray, CT scan, blood test. Okay, for prostate specific antigen, this PSA will show us if there is an enlargement of the prostate. Okay, so that antigen can be seen. Then prostate fluid sample test, sometimes it can be because of cancer. Okay, so that also can be detected, and urodynamic test to measure the bladder's ability to empty steadily and completely. So urodynamic test can be done to see that if the patient is able to empty the whole of the urine from the bladder. Okay, next we will go to management. So how do we treat this? So treatment for urinary retention includes catheterization, treating prostate enlargement, and surgery. Surgery in case of any kind of stones or obstruction that is there, or narrowing of the ureters, okay, that has to be found out and the surgery can be performed. Otherwise, until then catheterization can be done, and if the patient has difficulty in voiding because of prostate enlargement in male, then that has to be rectified. Then we, okay, so next is bladder drainage. So we have to remove the urine that is there in the bladder, or the bladder can rupture. So it is important for us to drain the urine from the bladder. Then urethral dilation. So if the urethra there is a constriction, so we can dilate the urethra so that the urine can flow out. Then urethral stents can be applied to straighten the narrowing, prostate medication in case of any infection to the prostate or enlargement, and surgery if required. Okay, so these are all the management that is to be done. Next we will see what is the nursing management. So under nursing management you almost have 18 points. Okay, so obtain focused urinary history. So collect the history and do the physical examination. So collect the symptoms that the patient is having, presence of obstructive or irritative voiding symptoms. Okay, and is not diagnostic of urine retention. So we should be able to identify what are the symptoms that are associated with the urinary retention. Next, perform a focal physical assessment you have to do, and then which includes skin integrity, neurological examination. We know that, right? Concentration or thought, memory can be altered if there is nitrogen waste present in the body, and if the pain intensity also increases. So do inspection, percussion, palpation of the lower abdomen for obvious bladder distension. The neurological examination including also to be done, then perineal skin sensation and the bulbocavernous reflex and vaginal vault examination in women, digital rectal examination in men. So all these has to be checked in the patient. Okay, and then you have determined the urinary residual volume, that is the amount of urine left in the bladder even after the urination. So that has to be checked by bladder ultrasound following the maturation. Then we have to complete a bladder log including patterns of urine elimination, patterns of urine loss if present. See if the patient has polyuria, nocturia, anuria, and how much of fluid that the patient has consumed for a week, 3 to 7 days. Consult with the physician concerning eliminating or altering medication suspected of producing and exacerbating urinary retention. So we have to consult with the physician and we have to find out and what kind of medication can be prescribed. Then assess the severity of retention and impact on quality of urine using a symptom score such as AUA prostate. So prostate can be checked, how much of the enlargement is there, and because of that is there any urinary retention. Teach the patient with mild to moderate obstructive symptoms to double void by urinating. So we can teach the patient to ask them to double void. If they don't have the feeling of fully voided, we can ask them again to void, then rest in the room for 3 to 5 minutes, then take a second effort to urinate. So first when they pass, till if they have a feeling that they have not passed, they can take a rest of 3 to 5 minutes and again encourage the patient to void. Okay, and then teach the patient with urinary retention and infrequent voiding to urinate by the clock. So tell them every half an hour you can try voiding. Okay, and then advise the male patient with urinary retention related to benign prostate hypoplasia, that is any disease that is related to the prostate, any enlargement or fluid collection or hardening of the prostate, to avoid risk factors associated with acute urinary retention by doing the following. So mainly for them we should teach them, men who are having prostate disorders. Avoid over the counter cold remedies containing decongestant, that is alpha adrenergic agonist. So here in this condition, when the patient has got cold, he or she should not go to the pharmacy, just go and take over the counter medication without the doctor's prescription. Okay, it can cause complication. Avoiding the over the counter dietary medication which frequently contain alpha-adrenergic agonist. Any drugs that is related to alpha-adrenergic agonist should be prevented, which can be dietary medications, okay, vitamin supplements, okay. Then discussing voiding problems with healthcare provider before beginning any new prescription medication. So they should be able to discuss before they start off with any medicine. They should tell them that they are having benign prostate hypertrophy. Okay, then after prolonged exposure to cold weather, warming the body before attempting to urinate. So before, if the person has been in a cold area, warm yourself and then go to void. Avoiding overfilling the bladder by adhering to regular urination pattern, refraining from excessive intake of alcohol. So patients with BPH should avoid alcohol intake and they should not retain the urine. Okay, so already they are having retention of urine, so after the surgery or after the necessary intervention that is done, they should be very careful that every 1 hour or 45 minutes they should make sure that they go and pass the urine. They should void, they should not retain the urine. So all these teachings we have to give it to the patient suffering with benign prostate hypertrophy. Okay, next we will continue with the other teaching. That is, teach the elderly male client with BPH to self-administer finasteride or an alpha-adrenergic blocking agent such as doxycycline, terazosin or tamsulosin or as directed. So they have to take the medication as per the order. Then they have to provide careful instruction concerning the dosage, administration schedule and the side effects of these drugs. Everything has to be taught to them, including possible adverse effects when multiple doses are inadvertently missed. If they miss the tablet regularly, then it can also lead to side effects. So including that, everything has to be told them that the medication has to be taken on time as per the prescription. Teach them the side effects as well as the adverse effects that can happen if they discontinue abruptly. Then teach the client who is unable to void. Okay, so what are the other measures that they can do? Drinking a cup of hot tea or coffee, attempting urination in complete privacy. Sometimes they can open the tap, listening to the water flow. They will want to urinate. That point also is very important. You can add if it is not there in the notes. Placing the feet solidly on the floor. Okay, or sometimes people will also place it over the water. It will stimulate voiding. Okay, and then if unable to void, using these strategies, take a warm sitz bath. Take a basin, pour hot water, little of betadine if it is there you can add, and ask the patient to sit on that. Okay, they should be careful. They should not get up suddenly because they can have giddiness. Okay, they can take sitz bath or shower, hot shower and voiding. Try to void if still in the tub or in the shower. Okay, while they are taking itself, they should try to void. If unable to void within 6 hours or if bladder distension is producing significant pain, seeking urgent or emergency care is very, very important. If they are not able to void, then after 6 hours all they have tried, then immediately they have to come because the bladder will start distending and then it can cause pain in the patient. Then warm cup of coffee or tea, it stimulates the bladder, may promote voiding. Attempting urination in complete privacy, placing the feet solidly on the floor, help relax the pelvic muscles and may encourage voiding. Warm water also stimulates the bladder and may produce voiding, while the cooling experienced by leaving the tub or shower may again inhibit the bladder. Okay, then remove the indwelling urethral catheter at midnight in the hospitalized patient to reduce the risk of acute urinary retention. So they have to remove the indwelling catheter. If it is there, try to remove it and reduce the risk of acute urinary retention. And if it is there for a prolonged period, you have to give catheter care to the patient in order to prevent infection, urethra. Okay, you have to make sure that you clean it with, you have to give perineal care and then you have to clean the urinary urethra and the tubing in order to prevent infection. Okay, then you have to consult the physician about bladder stimulation in patient with bladder retention caused by deficient detrusor contraction strength. So if the muscle is not functioning well, then if we are trained, then we can give a bladder stimulation or a slight massage. Then teach the client with significant urinary retention to perform self-intermittent catheterization as directed. So if the patient is going home, then we can teach them how to do intermittent catheter. If they are trying for 6-7 hours, they need not come to the clinic. So you can teach them how to put a tube into the urethra in adverse stages. Okay, and they can pass the urine, after which they can remove the intermittent tubing, okay, or the catheter. Then advise the person managed by intermittent catheterization that bacteria are likely to colonize. So they should be careful. They can lead to infection if they are not doing it appropriately. They can end up having urinary tract infection. So insert an indwelling catheter for an individual with urinary retention who is not a suitable candidate for intermittent catheterization. So people who might have difficulty, every now and then you insert and when you remove, what happens, it can actually lead to bacterial growth. So in order to prevent that, you can give the patient continuous urinary catheter where the urine can be drained in the bag, which is called as indwelling urinary catheter. Advise the person managed by an indwelling catheter that bacteria in the urine is an almost universal finding after the catheter has remained in place for a period of weeks or months, and that only symptomatic infections warrant treatment. Okay, and then coming on to, all these advices are under nursing management, which we have to give it to the patient. Okay, so we will continue with the next video.